In The Last of Us 1, the Fireflies are a highly organized group with two main objectives: restore the government to the United States and find a cure for the cordyceps infection. But a series of events that happened before and during The Last of Us Part 1 lead me to believe that the Fireflies in The Last of Us Part 2 are going to be a very different group from what we remember in The Last of Us Part 1. Hello everybody, it is Rio here, and let us discuss some events that affected the Fireflies and how these events could possibly affect the Fireflies heading into The Last of Us Part 2. Fedra is the military organization that controls all quarantine zones throughout America. Now, every quarantine zone was controlled differently, but a majority of the zones were faced with a common theme where Fedra members would abuse their power. This led to Fedra oppressing its civilians and thus sparked the revolution of the Fireflies. The Fireflies formed as a militia group to fight against this tyrannical military organization, thus beginning the war between the Fireflies and Fedra. This war had severe consequences for anyone who was a Firefly or anyone associated with a Firefly. This meant that anyone who was willing to be a Firefly was willing to put their lives at risk to fight for the Fireflies' cause. During The Last of Us Part 1, it is clear that the Fireflies are losing the war and many of their members were slaughtered in the attacks against Fedra. Alongside the war, the Fireflies also searched for a cure for the cordyceps infection. The Fireflies spent years performing experiments, but almost all the tests ended in failure. With the danger of Fedra hunting and murdering the Fireflies and the consistent failures from the cordyceps experiments, the Fireflies' morale began to fall, with many Fireflies questioning whether it was even worth being a Firefly.
Tommy saw the world one way, I saw it the other.
And that's why he joined the Fireflies.
Yeah, your friend Marlene promised him hope. That kept him busy for a while, but just like Tommy, he eventually quit that too.
When we reach the timeline of The Last of Us Part 1, every member of the Fireflies is a hardened veteran as they know the struggle and the risk involved with being a Firefly. Every member has stayed despite all the lost Firefly members and all the failed attempts to find a cure. And when Ellie is introduced with her mutated cordyceps immunity, this gives the Fireflies a new hope that maybe now, after all the years of failure and suffering, maybe this is the time they will finally get a cure for the cordyceps infection, thus boosting the morale of the Fireflies group. However, Joel's actions towards the end of The Last of Us Part 1 ruin everything the Fireflies have worked for. Joel removes the Fireflies' hope by taking Ellie. Joel kills the head surgeon, removing the Fireflies' medical expert. Joel kills Marlene, the leader and possibly the person who held the group together. And because of Joel's actions, the Fireflies have once again lost people, failed to find a cure, and are now left without a leader. These three events leave the Fireflies in a broken state at the end of The Last of Us Part 1, with the Fireflies having many reasons for revenge and hate heading into The Last of Us Part 2. And from this point on in this video, this is where we begin to delve into some of the theories of how the Fireflies managed to deal with this broken state and what they become in The Last of Us Part 2. What if the Fireflies who are now broken accept the fact that they have lost the war to Fedra and that they will never find a cure for the cordyceps infection? Then maybe the Fireflies will become a hostile survivor group, where the Fireflies begin to value survival more than the greater good. This could mean the Fireflies turn into a brutally savage group, maybe like the Hunters, who begin to kill and attack other groups, which could result in the Fireflies attacking Tommy's settlement. What if the Fireflies still believe that Ellie is the key to a cure, and the remaining Fireflies know Joel has Ellie? Then maybe the Fireflies somehow manage to hunt Joel down, and then some dark things happen once the Fireflies find Joel and Ellie. Maybe Joel gets killed by the Fireflies, and Ellie gets really pissed off at the Fireflies and goes on a super revengeful mission to avenge Joel's death. Or maybe Ellie will learn the truth of Joel's actions and learn how he killed Marlene. Then we'd have to ask ourselves, how would Ellie deal with this truth? Is her love for Joel enough for her to accept what he did, or will she start to get filled up with hate and it will corrupt her and actually make Ellie go against Joel? What if the Fireflies do not lose hope and are determined to find a cure for the cordyceps infection, but due to the fact that they lose Joel and Ellie, maybe the Fireflies try and find a new way to find a cure. Maybe the Fireflies become insane as they continue to fail to find a cure, which leads the Fireflies to begin doing crazy things like steal innocent people and perform experiments on their human subjects to hopefully find a cure. Of course, this is all just my mind making up stories on what I believe could happen to the Fireflies in The Last of Us Part 2. But given all these things we know, from the war to the failed cure experiments to the way Joel ruined the Fireflies and how the Fireflies are left at the end of The Last of Us Part 1, let me know what you think is going to happen with the Fireflies heading into The Last of Us Part 2. And other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and most importantly, stay moist, everybody. Cheers.